We're Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Sandra Martin. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
A beautiful day today
It is
here.
a wonderful day.
And the wind's not blowing.
Yes, and it's just the perfect temperature. It's
It
not
is.
too hot, not too cold.
It's one
been
thing
great.
in Nebraska we do appreciate this
Yes,
very much.
I'm pretty sure of the 365 days, this is like 3 of them.
Yeah, that's about right. We get our very little quota, that's for sure. So, well, we just met the other day. I don't know when that was, over in Holders. You were doing
Yes.
an event at the Hastings or the Holders Y over there.
Mhm.
A little bit of background about yourself and your business.
So, originally I grew up in New Mexico,
Okay.
and I grew up on a ranch and was very kind of country western.
Okay.
That southwestern type theme, so like the Aztec and stuff. And I really loved all of the art pieces that
Cool.
were as part of that. I've always kind of been like a hobbyist. I like kind of just randomly doing
Okay.
crafting of
Okay.
sorts. I got into scrapbooking there for a little while.
Cool.
I did a bunch of just random things. And then for one of my wedding presents, then my husband, he'd gotten me a Cricut cutting machine.
Oh, nice. Those are really nice.
And I loved it. And we were doing all kinds of things, but you're so limited on the color
Really? Okay.
with it because, like a vinyl only comes in like that one color. And so to be able to get a different
I
colored
see.
shirt, you only have like all white,
So very limited.
an all white design or all
Okay.
black design.
Okay.
So I really liked that part of it, but I just didn't like the limitations of that.
See that.
So I went ahead and went with sublimation. So sublimation is the process. It's got special heat transfer ink,
Okay.
and you put it in like it's in a printer, and you can design it on your computer, and then
Nice.
you print it off and
Okay.
you heat press it onto poly material.
Really? Okay. That's interesting.
So I kind of got into that because of the limitations that was set on the shirts and things that I could do with my Cricut.
Okay.
So I kind of bit the bullet and did that.
Uh-huh.
I started that 3 years ago. This has been the longest hobby that I've ever been able
That's
to
good.
keep up with.
That's good.
I'm a bit of an ADHDer. I just
Okay.
kind of I start something and I'm like, this is really fun. And then I hit this wall and I'm like, all right,
Not so
never
much.
touching that again.
Yeah.
So I've really gotten into this because the kind of things that I can do is endless.
Awesome.
So I can do shirts. I can make shirts. I can make keychains. I can make koozies. I can make like the tumblers.
Wow. Okay.
So I can make all kinds of things.
Okay.
And of course, it comes on a white blank. Is all of these items that I have. They come white, and so you can make and design anything, and then print it out and put it on there.
Very nice.
So I like going with like the, just kind of the culture I was brought up with.
Right.
Like that Western theme has such a big place in my heart.
It's cool.
So I love doing things with that. But I can basically do anything there is. And so that
Very cool.
it makes it really fun. My kids really like it.
I bet they do.
They'll come home and like a typical kid will do, it's like, mommy, so-and-so's birthday's tomorrow. And so
that
they're
sounds
like
like a kid.
hey, can you make me something? And so I'll spend an hour or so like coming up with a design. So like my son, he has a really good friend of his, and he was like, Mom, I forgot it was Mace's birthday tomorrow. And so he was like, can you please make her something good?
Yeah.
And I was like, so I spent like an hour and a half designing this tumbler, and I made it for her, and she thought it was the coolest thing because they're getting these special gifts, and it's almost like he'd planned this for weeks on end, when in reality, Mom made it in an hour.
Which is awesome. I mean, that is, and it's personalization. I mean, because most of the gifts you get nowadays they're not personalized, that's for sure.
Right. And it puts so much heart into it because, I mean, yes, even though that you're not the person doing it, it's custom made.
Yes.
And so whether you even if we don't put their name on it, if we put a picture or put a design that they like, for my niece, I just made her some signs to go on her show pins at the county fair.
Oh, wow, that would be cool, yeah.
And she likes teal, she likes sunflowers, and she likes cow print.
Okay.
So I managed to make this background with cows and teal.
Very nice.
The sunflowers.
Okay.
And I put her name on it, and it was really unique because it's all the things that she likes.
That is perfect.
So it really kind of ties that in where I can just,
Yeah.
and I can have fun with it. And I
Yeah,
get
it's a win-win.
yeah, it's awesome because, and I end up going way deeper in the rabbit hole because
I know,
I'll
I can
end up
relate with
having like 8 or 9 designs. And I'm like, oh,
that.
not everybody wants 8 or 9 designs because they get overwhelmed. So I always ask, I'm like, okay, how many designs do you want me to send you? And they're like 3.
Okay. But I
Okay.
can understand that because it's like, I got another idea, and just kind of,
Yeah.
before you know it, you have 8 or something like that. So,
Well, and once I start making them and once I start playing with them, then I'm like, oh, I could change this. So I do
right.
another
Yes.
one.
Like,
And it's really easy on the program that I use, like to just kind of copy and paste that original design and just tweak it a little bit to hear what I want or colors or so it gets really fun where I can just kind of keep creating like
that sounds like a good way to spend your time and make money. I mean, that sounds like a very good way. So, how did you find out about this? Or, I mean, how did you learn how to do it?
Well, so I actually kind of learned just by jumping in. I didn't have anybody teach me.
Learn by fire then. Okay.
Pretty much, because why would I have to spend all this money and then someone teach me how to do it properly? That's insane. So, no, I definitely, I had seen some things about it whenever I had my Cricut. So I was in some like Facebook groups and things like that. And so there was a lot of people that were like, hey, yeah, sublimation. And I kept like hearing what it was. And I had to look it up and I was like, well, that's interesting. So I went to my husband one night and I was like, hey, I want to try this. And he was like, okay. He was like, how, the how much question came up.
Oh, yes.
And so we had actually just gotten our tax return and I was like, so it's going to be a couple $100. And he was like, all right, cool. So I just kind of jumped on it and I bought the printer and I bought the printer, bought all the things, and I just kind of searched on Amazon sublimation blanks. And it just started giving me all of these different ideas that I could do.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. The very first gift or the very first thing I actually made that was successful, there was plenty of little mistakes.
Well, that kind of goes with the process, the journey. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, how does this work? Oh, not like that.
I can relate with that one.
But the first thing I actually successfully made was a very meaningful thing to me. So, my best friend had lost her 18-month-old son a year before this. And, I had made her a wind spinner. So like you expand them and they kind of blow in a circle.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They're like hangy things that go on porches. I'd made her a wind spinner that was completely customized and it had we call him our little dragon. So like part of like is fly high in the sky. And so I put a dragon on it and I put some footprints in the sand.
Oh, that's
and
so awesome.
It was a very meaningful piece.
Yeah.
And when it turned out so amazing, then it just made it mean so much more.
Yes.
And so after plenty of tears and everything like
I bet.
through the process, I made it and she hung it above where the baby's crib was. So
that is, I mean, that's so sad, but so awesome. I mean,
it was kind of a way to memorialize him, but like in that kind of special way, that, it wasn't, and it's not blaring out at you, like,
being subtle.
Because, there's so many people that when it comes to loss and things like that, then they want that memory, but it's hard to just have, photos and all of these things blaring at you all day long. So it's the subtle memory. So I've actually made a couple different ones of those. I have a couple people that have like lost some I had a friend that not long after lost their infant at like 5 days old, and I made that for them.
That's terrible.
So I made another one for them, but it was completely customized. So it was
really like that.
For them, it was elk and had his feet print and his name, and like it was those little things that I could
so cool.
Make for them that again isn't that jumping out that but it's that subtle enough that they know what it means. And that's part of the joy of what I do is I know what it means and all of these things, and it's so fun to create and make them and just have those underlining meanings behind some of them. And, obviously some of them are just gifts.
Right.
Some of them are just, meaningless in the sense of that. But, some things putting so much
Yeah, that
honor in
has.
them.
Yeah, it is.
It makes it so nice to kind of have that.
So if I wanted you to design something or for a not occasion, I mean that's a terrible
Right.
occasion, but for like an occasion, how would I just approach you and say I need something for whatever this occasion coming up is,
Yeah.
and you just kind of run with it then, or
Yeah.
get parameters, or
Yeah, so
okay,
pretty much, actually just a few weeks ago, look at my English.
I can
I
relate.
had ran a spring giveaway on
Okay,
my page.
okay,
And so what I basically did was, people got to comment what they liked to see, what they wanted to do,
okay,
and I actually just finished and shipped it off. So the person that won wanted a tumbler made,
okay.
and she was like, I don't really know what I want. She
Mhm.
kind of Pinterest a few
Oh,
items, and
okay.
she was like, I kind of like this cup. What can you do with this? And she
Uh-huh.
sent me an idea, and I just kind of ran with it. And I was like,
Okay.
here's what I can do. This is what. And so I sent her a bunch of ideas, and she was like, oh, like this is kind of cool.
Uh-huh.
And so I got to just kind of, like she had that base idea, and
Okay.
I ran with my,
With your take of it, kind of, yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
I wouldn't say expertise because I'm an
Uh-huh.
expert by no means, but I kind of just ran with that design, and I was like, well, what all can I do with it? How can I
Exactly.
make this something that fits their lifestyle and what they
Okay.
want?
Okay.
So it's really cool to kind of use my computer and AI. I don't like using a whole lot of
I'm with
AI.
you. Mhm.
But AI does have its place. So
It
every
does.
now and
Yep.
then I can kind of get on there and be like, hey, I need a silhouette of a
Yeah.
horse or something like
Right,
that.
right.
And it'll pop up with
Yep.
all of those ideas and things.
Yep.
You always have to double check and make sure it doesn't have like 6 legs.
That is
But
true. Yes, you do.
I can do that. I try not to. I try and design
Mhm.
everything. There's actually been a few times. My daughter is an amazing artist.
Okay.
So there's been a few times I've had her draw something out,
That's
and then
awesome.
I can scan it onto my computer, and
Okay.
I kind of tweak it and just edit
That
it
sounds
on the
great.
computer. And so she's been able to do that a couple times for
Very
me.
cool.
So I really like kind of taking your idea and running with it, because just like any kind of artist out there, you'll give them your idea,
Uh-huh.
and they, like a tattoo artist, for example,
Sure, sure.
like you're like, hey, I want a cross on my back. I don't know what I want. I just want
Yeah.
a cross on my back. This
Yeah.
is my
Just know you
interest.
have that. Yeah, the basics here.
This is
Yeah.
my cross. I like blue. I like,
Right, right.
and so then suddenly they have this idea, and you're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine anything
Yeah.
else. So that's what I like to do. I love to just take your small design and just make it grow. And
Well, and that's a great talent because if my life depended on it, I wouldn't come up with that. I would still stay with the cross. It's like, yeah, this is good.
well, that's it. Is I was like, there's so many things. And actually, the funny thing is when I got my tattoo, I designed it on my computer.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know. And I sent it to the tattoo artist, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, something like this. And he basically just like did little tiny tweaks,
Yeah.
like putting shadows. And he was like, your design was so awesome. Like I couldn't run with anything.
Uh-huh.
He's like, I didn't know where else to go.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh,
That says a lot.
that's it made me feel so good. And that's
Yeah.
actually when I realized that he was like, your vision and what that meant
Yeah.
to you. He was like, I didn't know how to tweak it
Yeah.
that could make it better
Right.
for you. So, that's a lot of that is sometimes you can, if you just have
Yep.
those. Now, by all means, I can also do, like, if people have a design themselves.
Okay.
So, logos, people send me logos, and I
exactly.
can put them on there. So, if they
Okay.
already have the design, I can just put it on things.
Okay. Very good.
So that helps as well, where
Okay.
sometimes I don't have to create it.
Okay.
So I don't have to tweak it. I've done a couple like advertising type things for
I
people.
can see that too. Yeah.
So like coasters, I've done some giveaway type things for
Okay.
other
Okay.
businesses. I just got done making a really big order of shirts for a
Really?
guy that
Nice.
he had his business logo on the back of it.
Perfect.
And, so I made some shirts for him, and the custom orders like that are just so fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even, just the slightest thing. And I'm the one that'll stay up until midnight trying to get it
Well,
done.
when
trying
it's
to
your
work on it,
passion, time goes by very quickly when you're doing something you love to do.
Oh yeah,
So-
well, and it's so funny because I have 4 kids.
Okay.
My oldest is 16
Mhm.
and my youngest is 5.
Okay.
So they all know that all of my stuff is just kind of chaotic and everywhere.
Okay.
And so that everything is constantly, and I'll just be like, oh, I'm going to do this today. And my youngest, who, I mean, he's just 5, so he doesn't understand a whole lot. He'll be like, Mommy, are you working? I'm like, well, kind of.
Okay,
Yeah, it's because that's, if I tell him I'm working, he'll leave me alone. Because if not, he's trying to help. And
that's good too.
You know, sometimes a 5-year-old's designs are just not it. So
yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I mean, bless his soul, but you know, it's been really fun to just
awesome.
kind of do. And like I say, my family kind of gets into it. And
I think that's great.
They, you know, my husband, he's got zero creative bones. He's just
kind of me.
But I'll show him something and I'm like, look at this. And he's like, looks great.
Yeah. It's like, I know I like that, but yeah.
And so the only thing he's really good about is if I show him a shirt and I'm like, hey, is this right? And he's like, it's not centered. And I'm like, of course not. So, you know, I mean, he's pretty good at, you know, making sure that what I give out is good quality, because I figure if he notices it, the customer will. If he doesn't, he's pretty observant.
Okay.
So I figure if he notices it, then the customer probably will. Yes. If he doesn't notice it,
we're
probably
good.
Won't. I also utilize my sister in that way too. I'll send her things and I'm like, yo, check this out. And I'm like, how's it looking? She's like, it looks awesome. And then I'll start pointing out every little thing that I see wrong. I'm like, well, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong. And she's like, you know, if you wouldn't have said nothing, nobody would have ever saw that. And so that's kind of fun, and it gets my whole family involved, because
which is excellent.
They all judge me, and you know, my kids help me with some of my social media stuff, because of course, it's 16.
Oh yeah, that would be there up to right. Yeah,
all wrong. She doesn't know how to do anything.
Okay. That sounds like a 16-year-old. Yes.
You know, I'm so cringe. I think is what she calls me a lot. And she'll be like, "No, Mom, no, you can't do that." No, you can't put that song on your video. Mom.
Yeah,
Mom, here's how you make an actual TikTok, and I'm like, it works for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but she'll jump in there and she'll take my camera and she does these cool little videos.
That is cool.
So she helps me out with that social media. So
that's gonna be awesome, because your kids are always gonna remember that later in later years. You know, doing all that and helping out, and I think that, and then she's gonna look back. It's like, I was that way at 16. It's like, oh, y'all were, we all had shades of that. Oh my gosh. So how do people find you? I mean, you're on the internet, I know.
Yes.
Can they do orders there, or they can?
So I am on Facebook. I am technically on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram, I'm not as fluent, I guess.
That's kind of me too.
Instagram I can kind of run, but I'm not on there as much, just because I don't understand it as much.
Me either.
I barely can do Facebook. For as being as technological as this business kind of is, I am not technically inclined. Anything that
I can understand that. Yes.
Anything that goes wrong with my computer or anything like that, I look at my husband. I'm like, fix it.
Yes.
So
yes,
he's my tech guy.
That's good.
So he just fixes all my problems. But I do have Facebook. I have Instagram. I have a TikTok.
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram is both under Sandra's Southwest Sublimation.
Okay.
Words are hard. And then my TikTok is just under my name, which is Sandra Martin.
Okay.
I do have a website as well. My husband kind of runs it for me.
Nice.
Because again,
okay.
I'm like, put this picture up and put these words, and he can do it. But if he handed me the program, he's like, what do you want done? And I'm like, so there's a page. And I was like, I don't know. I can't do this. So he designs that stuff and kind of gets on there. There's a place for reviews on my website.
Cool.
And so that's kind of fun. You can go on my website and see a lot of the past projects I've done. I've uploaded pictures of.
So do you do lives, or have you ever done any reels or snippets or anything like that?
I do some reels.
Okay.
I do some like TikTok videos.
Okay.
I try really hard to stay up to date on that thing. But I have a crazy life. So, I mean, I work a full-time job. I have a part-time job.
Oh my gosh.
Hobby, plus my 4 kids.
I don't think you get all that done.
And, you know, it's wonderful, and I manage to just do it all, but I'm crazy. So I don't know how I manage it all, because I'm usually just a hot mess.
That's a lot of things to juggle. My gosh.
So social media obviously is like the last thing on
I
my
see
list.
that.
I spend a lot of time in social media, like when I'm chilling at the end of the night and I'm laying in bed, that's kind of when I start to scroll my TikTok and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, hey, there's a message from 4 days ago.
I can relate with that one.
I'm the worst about it. The easiest way to reach me is actually text message or like direct messaging me on Facebook instead of my business pages, because sometimes it is so hard to keep up with personal Facebooks and
a lot of moving parts there,
job and all the things. It just gets crazy.
I'm in awe that you get all that done. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how. I really don't.
And you do sleep.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay. No.
Sometimes I do. There's a few times where I think I don't, but
so okay. This is Dreamcatcher podcast. I always ask the guest, when you were growing up, what was the dream? What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
So from the time I was little bitty, I mean like 5 years old, I wanted to be a cop.
Cop, really? Okay, that's cool.
So the field that I wanted to be kind of changed as I grew up, but for the most part, I always wanted to be a cop. I always pretend I was a police officer, and I was always
love that.
arresting my sibling.
Really?
And,
that's awesome too.
And then as I kind of got older into my like preteen years, I thought it would be really cool to be a detective. And then as I got a little bit older in those teen years, then I was like, oh, that'd be really cool to be like a forensic scientist.
Oh, yeah.
And do like the crime scene investigation.
Right.
Like my favorite show growing up was like CSI Miami.
I like that
and
one,
like
too.
NCIS.
Those are good.
So I loved those, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. And then I my senior year of high school, I started looking into what do I have to do to be this. And a side note, my worst subject in school was science.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hated it. Was never good at it. It was like I was always that was my lowest grade on my report cards. And it was just a frustration point for me.
Wow. Okay.
So my senior year, everybody else was taking like all these bio classes,
all
of these like huge thing, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I called myself the slacker senior. I was the perfect. I had the cake schedule. I had English. I had teacher's aid. I had yearbook.
Oh, you did? That's what a senior year. That'd be cool.
It was wonderful.
I bet it was.
I did not feel any pressure. My friends are over there studying on lunch break because they're like, we have a chemistry test. And I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But then in hindsight, that kind of screwed me just a little bit because I wasn't really set up for college. So with how much science that detective degree was going to, that forensic science degree was going to take, I was like, oh, so maybe science and me, since I don't agree with it, so maybe it's not the thing for me. So I kind of just was slowly starting to change. I couldn't make up my mind because I had dreamed of being a cop and dreamed of doing this field for so long.
Wow.
I did not know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school, because I realized that being a forensic scientist was just not going to work. It was just not in the cards for me. Right. Especially at that age and that maturity, I was just like, I just don't see me doing this for 4 years.
Right.
I didn't take it my senior year for a reason.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I was planning on taking a year off from college.
Sure.
And I decided that I was just going to wait and kind of see where my life took me for a year and see if something sparked my interest. Well, and then I ended up meeting my ex-husband, and I had my baby.
Okay.
So I had a baby at 18.
Okay.
That's when I had my oldest. And so life took me into motherhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years.
Cool. Very cool.
So it was awesome, and I loved it. But I didn't have a whole lot of work experience. And so I've spent a lot of I call them adult years.
Okay.
I mean, I know I've been an adult for quite a few years, but there was so much because I was a stay-at-home mom, and my ex-husband took care of all the bills.
Okay.
Or all the income.
Sure,
sure. So there was nothing for me to do. So I've kind of bounced around on what I wanted to do with my life.
Okay.
I've thought about going to college. I've thought, like all of those dreams kind of spark back. I'm like, at my maturity level now, I think I could probably get a forensic science degree. But then I look at it and I'm like, I'm 34, and I'm like, that seems like a lot of work. Because I already have such a busy schedule. Like, how am I supposed to throw college classes?
Yeah, let's see. We got 2 seconds there. So
I was like, I can squeeze in a class or two here or there. So, unfortunately, I don't think that dream is still in the cards. But I also realized through that experience and going through becoming a mom at such a young age.
Yep.
Which a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of people, I mean,
right.
There's a lot of people out there that are like, I had a kid at 18, I ruined my life. And, there's so many people that look bad on those people that, they're like, oh, those teen moms and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just, I look at it on the opposite side, because I don't know if I guess it's because I am one, but I look at it and I'm like, I'm not here to fill my dreams. I'm there to fill theirs.
True. Very true.
And so my kind of life mission now that once I became a mom, and was just to make their dreams come true.
Amen. That's awesome.
So, my oldest daughter, she has wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, wow. Cool.
For the longest time, she used to watch Doc McStuffins.
Okay.
As a kid. And so she's a 16-year-old, and so she's starting to look into the medical field, and
very good.
Kind of like me, she is looking at it and is like, oh, so maybe a neurosurgeon is not the way to go, because that's like 16 years of school.
It is. There's a lot more schooling, that's
and
for sure.
So she's still looking at that medical field, and she's like, what can I do? What can I twist? And so she's doing the opposite. I started small and went big, and she's started really big, and she's like, maybe I should be a nurse. Like, maybe I should do something a little bit smaller.
Kind of get started and see what goes. Yeah.
I fulfill that. I try and do everything I can to get her set up where she can fill her dreams. My son is the same way. So he just turned 15. And my life is just making their dreams come true. Yeah. So he wants to be a bronc rider and eventually make it to the NFR.
Whoa, I admire him for wanting to do that.
It makes this mama heart just jump.
I bet.
So he goes and he rides. I let him do all of these things, and it keeps me crazy, is what I tell him.
I can understand that one with that, especially.
It really does. It just... but it's so fun to watch their dreams aspire and their dreams change, I mean,
dreams do evolve. Yes.
It's so fun and so kind of enlightening to see that I was once that kid that had that dream. And see how, and I mean, like, I've always told my kids, they were like, what did you dream of doing? I mean, every kid asks, what were you gonna do? And, and they were like, well, and then my oldest, sometimes she kind of feels a little regret. She'll be like, it's my fault that you didn't go to school. It's my fault, because she's like, you got pregnant with me, because she knows I was so young. And I'm like, no, it's not your fault that I didn't do, that I didn't do those things. It's you are the reason I didn't do them. But you are the reason I found purpose in other things.
Yes.
And so I try and always kind of revolve that around that positive thinking.
That's good,
because, I mean, dreams change.
Oh, very much, yes.
You can't just stick with the same dream.
No.
Because, I mean, to be completely honest, if I would have graduated and gone in and gotten that forensic science degree and gone into that field, I'm 26 and I've successively, I have my whole life to live, and I've completed my dream.
Yeah, you're like, what's next? Yeah.
Exactly. So I love how my dreams have changed just all through the years. It's made it really fun and interesting.
Dreams are
because
awesome.
Because
they can change. Yes.
Once upon a time, my sublimation business was just a dream. I was like, that'd be really cool if I could make a business out of this.
Yes.
I started out just making things for friends and doing this, and then I started doing craft fairs, and I started doing that, and that has just grown.
Yeah, you never know how that action will start snowballing.
I was like, so those little tiny dreams. Sometimes those little ones are the ones that end up big.
That is true. Yes, you never know where it's going to lead you. That is for sure.
And I just love that kind of about life is, and I would have never dreamed in my entire life that I would ever been in Nebraska. That is not a state that was on my bucket list.
So where did you start out at?
So I grew up in New Mexico.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
Yeah. So, I was born in Arizona, and then I grew up in New Mexico.
Okay.
And I spent a large majority of my adult life in New Mexico as well.
Okay.
And I have lived in a lot of states. My ex-husband's job moved us a lot.
Okay.
He was a contract miner.
Okay.
So we moved to a lot of states. I've lived in Nevada.
Okay.
I've lived in Texas. I've lived in Oklahoma, Louisiana.
Wow.
We lived in Missouri. Well,
quite a few.
Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of on the Missouri side of Kansas City. But you know, I've lived in so many different places. And so when my husband kind of came up with this move idea, because he grew up in Indiana.
Oh, did he? Okay.
So we're from very different worlds.
Yeah.
But he kind of was like, you know, I want to move to the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
yeah, I was gonna say, especially
I like my mountains.
Yeah, mountains are awesome.
So I was like, my mountains and me kind of mean something.
Yep.
But it was really interesting to just kind of see that dream change for him. And so we came together. It was a hard decision.
I bet.
Uprooting 4 kids when this is all they've known, and it was right. I was right next to my family. So
and that makes it even more tough.
You know, and that's where my kids' roots kind of lie. You know, I mean, that was always hometown.
Right.
So we lived there for 5 years.
Okay.
And so uprooting them to come to Nebraska was so
tough.
hard. And I mean, a million years. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, like, what's your 5-year plan? Nebraska was nowhere on there. My current job, nowhere on there.
Yeah. Life has a way of doing that.
And I mean, there's no way I would have seen myself doing this.
Okay.
And so, I mean, even my sublimation business, it was 5 years ago, I would have never thought that I could be so creative and do something that I love so much.
Yeah, you just never know where life is going to direct you or guide you.
Right.
So what brought you the job to Nebraska?
Yes. So my husband wanted to get kind of into farming.
Oh, really?
He grew up farming.
Okay.
And so he kind of wanted to get back into that. And in New Mexico, fun fact, it's a desert. So
it might be tough to.
We don't get fields. What fields you do have, you have to irrigate and you have to water yourself. And unlike a pivot. And, you know, I mean, like, it's not the same kind of irrigation.
You can just push a button and the pivot goes right,
And it doesn't, and I mean, like, the few people that do have fields around there, they don't have, like, massive acres and stuff like that. I mean, you're talking less, 2-3 acres of farmland.
Oh, wow, really small then, okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's more of like a backyard garden on an extra large scale.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's just not something that was around there. So
and I could see that. So, I mean, I've never been to New Mexico. What part of New Mexico were you in?
The southwest corner.
Southwest, okay.
So I was right on the Arizona border.
Okay.
And actually the closest town to where we live and where we grew up, or where I grew up, is actually in Arizona, not New Mexico.
Oh, you really were close to
and I call it way out in the boonies. And we were way out from civilization. The closest Walmart was 2.5 hours away.
You really were? Wow.
Yes.
And they think we are here in Nebraska.
Right. I know. People are like, oh my gosh, like, I have to go to Grand Island for everything. I'm like, why? Hastings has a Walmart.
They do.
So I grew up in this little tiny town. Like, ranching is, and actually the county I grew up in, there are more cows than there are people in the county I grew up in. And it is the largest county in New Mexico.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, you know, it was so different.
That would be really.
You know, I've grown up on farm or on a ranch.
Right.
And I've been in the agricultural life my entire life. I've been part of that. But Nebraska is so much different.
I would think it would be from what you're saying there.
You know, I mean, New Mexico is just hills and trees and, you know, rocks and all these things. And I was like, I don't think I've seen a rock yet.
No, I don't, I don't think you're going to see one.
Which is funny because my husband's like, yeah, farmers don't like rocks.
No, they kind of have problems.
Yeah. So, you know, I was like, it's been so different.
Yeah.
And that different, but in a good way.
Okay.
We've all kind of adjusted and taken some. You know, it was a little hard to adjust at first.
I would think so,
But, you know, we've all kind of adjusted and kind of gotten to...
You still have family in New Mexico?
Yes.
Okay, then.
So we go down and visit.
Okay,
we try and go down for the 4th of July. So the 4th of July has always been like a big holiday in my family.
Perfect then. Awesome.
And there's a big rodeo and stuff that we go to as a family and stuff. So the 4th of July celebration, we try and go down and visit for that. My kids, they love to desert me and go see their aunt. So my
fun.
youngest two are going down for the entire summer.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That's very nice.
Spending time with my family. So
excellent.
yes.
Yeah, that'll be summers they won't forget. That's
yeah,
really much.
well, and that's it is I mean, there's the memories and stuff that I can give them here, but the memories they're creating there is it's insane.
They won't forget that. That's for sure.
And that's it. I mean, even my oldest at 16, then she kind of looks back and she's like, "Mom, remember that time that we did this and this at Papa's?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and so she
important.
And
yes.
Unfortunately, the older two are kind of outgrowing it a little bit. They've got jobs, they've got boyfriends, they've got
yes,
this
they're turning into that.
know,
Yes, that stage.
But the younger two are still like, we're going to New Mexico for the entire summer and riding and branding.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It is an amazing. It's a blast. I have so much fun when I get to go back and visit. But it's.
So do you have livestock here in Nebraska?
No.
Okay.
I did work a job where they had cows. It was a farm, and he had cows and stuff. My husband and I were on there together. It didn't exactly work out the way we had hoped and planned.
Okay.
So it was kind of a quick switch to what we're doing now. But and I loved working with the cows, and I loved doing all the things. But something that a lot of people don't realize, it's a 24/7 job.
Oh, yes.
There were plenty of nights where I wasn't getting home until 10:30 at night, and leaving the house at 7:30 every morning.
That's not much sleep.
And I mean, and that's not very conducive to mothering 4 kids.
Very, very true. Yes.
So it was becoming really hard to juggle, life and job and kids and stuff. So, my husband and I just kind of made the decision that, maybe this isn't what we need to be doing. So we switched it because that's what we were like, hey, we're going to go up there and we're going to farm and we're going to do this.
I understand that. Yes.
After I think it was a year, it was right at a year of kind of doing that. Then we were just like, you know what? Like
that'd be tough.
This isn't working for our family. We need to make an adjustment. And the moment we made that adjustment and kind of got the jobs that we are in now, it was this whole different environment at home. We were happy.
I bet that's true. Yeah.
The kids are just so different, and I'm there as a mom, and I get to go to the events at school,
and that's good. Yeah, that's
because
very good.
That's one of those things that farm and ranching in general. And I mean, I grew up doing it, so it was something I was aware of. I knew about it, but it was always my dad or, so that midnight, he would send me home at dinner time and he'd stay out there or, my sister, she runs the ranch now and it's the same thing, so I go out and help my sister and I'm like, all right, well, it's starting to rain. I'm headed indoors and, she would take care of the rest. But then when I was in that job, it was rain or shine,
You just do it.
You just did it. And it just was really hard on me as a mom. So
I could see that.
It was not the greatest, even though we try and involve our kids and stuff. So they love that kind of life.
I bet
they really do. They love the cows. They love
Oh, I'm sure, yes.
The horses and stuff. But it just became so
horses. Anybody's running. I think they're big cats. Horses are very much.
Yes, some of them can be.
They can be so ornery.
Yes,
and how they pick up on things.
Oh yes, they have such big personalities.
They do. That is for sure. So I got to ask you. Kids are growing. Money's not an issue. What would your husband do?
Honestly, I don't know. Because essentially my entire adulthood, I've been a mom.
Yeah.
So much of my life has been revolved around just kind of catering to that. I honestly don't know what I would do. My husband jokes that he's like, the moment that the kids move out, we're getting an RV and we're traveling around the world.
That sounds cool.
We're sending the kids a postcard when we leave a location, so they never know where we're at. And I'm like, some days that actually sounds good. But the position I actually have now, I'm an administrative assistant at Hastings HVAC.
Okay.
So it's a manufacturing company here. We make industrial size heaters.
Oh, really? Okay. That's the thing. I didn't know that.
So I am an admin assistant and I really love it. So
very good.
All the paperwork comes through me and, all sides of it. Kind of nothing really happens without me kind of having that little thing, I'm part of every department because I kind of handle so much of their, so much of their paperwork and everything. So it's kind of fun to see that. And right now I'm extremely happy in my job.
Excellent. That's very, very good.
And so that's really nice. And I keep teasing my boss that I'm like, if I could change the location, I wouldn't have a 45-minute drive every
closer to where you live. Yes.
I'm like, you're just going to pick this building up and move it like 20 minutes that way.
There you go.
He's like, no. He likes his 5-minute drive.
I bet he does. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, my 45-minute drive,
especially in the wintertime, I could think that might be,
Yeah, and I mean, luckily this past winter it wasn't super horrible.
No, it wasn't much of a winter.
So I mean, we didn't. I think we had 1 or 2 mornings of bad roads.
Wasn't much, that's for
sure.
But
it really wasn't. It wasn't super bad.
No,
so
it was.
But I am really blessed to have like a job that I really like.
That's a blessing. That's for sure.
And our workspace is, we all get along really good.
That's a gift too.
And for the most part, I mean, of course you always have your office here or there, but for the most part, it's a really good foundation of people and stuff.
That's all the way around. That's a gift. That's for sure.
Oh yes, for sure.
So on your sublimation. So what would you like that to be like in a year or 2 or down the road?
And
is there some things you haven't tried on that you like to do?
There's actually a lot of things that you can do
really
with it.
Okay.
I haven't tried everything.
Okay.
I'm jack of all trades, master of none.
I know how that goes.
So it's been really fun. So there's koozies and like koozies and keychains is actually what I started out doing mainly. And so I do a lot of those. Custom orders are my favorite. I love making your designs come true.
Excellent. I can see that.
And so that's what's fun. And that's what I want to build on is I want to build that community where they're like, hey, I need a present for mom. And they immediately go, what can you do? What's your idea for this? So my sister likes to keep me on her toes. And every Christmas, she's like, so I need a present for my boss or I need a present for my daughter.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, well, last year we did this, year before we did this. So she's constantly like, well, what if we do this? What if we do, so I made a blanket.
Oh, wow.
I made a sippy cup. I made, so this year for my sister's granddaughter, then I made a sippy cup. I made some onesies, shirts, and I had never done that before.
That's
so I was like, oh, cool. You give me 2-week notice that you want something
a whole 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. She told me it was right before Thanksgiving. She's like, I'm giving you notice now. And I was like, oh, that's
a long time here. Yeah.
So, usually she's a little more, hey, it's December 15th and I need a gift made. Well, I'm like, oh, cool. But I would love for that, to just kind of grow and to keep going because that's what I really enjoy doing.
And I can tell. I can see the passions there, definitely.
I love it. And like I say, the creating what you build.
Yes.
It's all about you,
Yes.
I mean, actually for this past Christmas at our Christmas party, so I gave our boss, I know, little bits about your boss. We're not friends on like a personal level.
Sure.
But, I mean, we get along well at work. And, I definitely would pass him on the street and say hello. Kind of. I mean, he's not standoffish at that point. But, there was a few things that I knew about him that I was like, you know what? I'm going to make him a tumbler. And he really likes football. He really likes Nebraska.
Perfect.
Our company and stuff like that. That's kind of his life.
Excellent.
And so on this tumbler, I put a football field and the Nebraska logo. And I put a bow hunting because he's a big hunter.
Wow.
And I put our company logo on it. And so this cup is essentially like his life.
Yeah, that's excellent. It doesn't get much better than that.
And that's actually what he said. He was like, wow, like, he's like, this is awesome because he's like, this is my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what my goal was, is for him to be able to look at that and just be like, this is
and
me.
You designed that all yourself? How long did that take you to do that?
It depends on my mood.
I can understand what you do,
that
actually.
ADHD brain, some days it'll take me 4 or 5 days to come up with an idea because I'm just like, I'm not feeling it today, and I'm clicking around and I'm looking and I'm just like, nah, I don't like that, and I delete it, and I don't like that, and I delete it. But then as soon as I see something, then I'm like, ooh, I kind of like that. And then I roll with it, and I just kind of play with it. So once I kind of get in that zone, I can really roll with it, and it would take me, I mean, the shortest time it's ever taken me to do like a personalized design has probably been about an hour.
Whoa, that's fast.
But it was kind of a simpler design. They were just like, hey, I want this, this, and this.
Right.
Those kind of more intricate designs where they're like, I don't know what I want, but this is kind of my idea.
That would make it tough, yes.
Those, I usually spend 2 or 3 days.
I can understand that,
all of my free time, and I'm just clicking around my computer, and I'm pulling things up, and I'm like, what about this color? What about this color? And, and actually the colors and the designs are so much funner, and the backgrounds. And my biggest irritation is whenever people are like, I want my name on it. And I'm like, oh, because honestly, font.
There's lots of fonts.
There's hundreds upon thousands of different fonts.
There are.
And me personally, I know what font I like.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm like, okay, well, what kind of font do you like? And they're like, I don't know.
I bet they definitely don't.
And there's so many people that are like, I don't know, just
pick one.
Put something fancy on there. And I'm like, okay, so you've narrowed it down to 75. 7,000. Cool. So we have 75 different designs that I can possibly go with. So I really try, and I just, the fonts is honestly my biggest hang up.
I can see that
I can make a design that doesn't have words on it. It makes me so happy.
It's a good day.
Yes, I get to put that creativity to work. And I just don't have to have that second guessing, because
that would be tough.
I mean, just like your favorite color is different than their favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just like that. It is so hard to design to go with a font that I like versus somebody else likes, because
definitely.
And I mean, if they don't know exactly what they want, then I can scroll through my fonts on my computer for an hour.
You can.
And just sit there, and I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? My sister, I joke with her all the time, because I'm like, well, what font do you want? And she goes, pick one. And I'm like, scrolly button. We just kind of send it, and I'm like, what about this one? And she's like, too boxy. And I'm like, so we do something else. And a lot of times it comes down to if there's numbers. I'm like, oh, that 6 looks like a G. I can't do that.
And sometimes
it's easy to roll things out. Sometimes it's a little harder.
Yep.
But I enjoy just kind of playing with it.
I guess that'd be fun.
And sometimes the fun part about fonts is whenever I put a word on there, then I'll have like 3 different designs, and I'm like, which one do you like? And I'll put the same background, but I'll put a different font on each one. And I've had so many people look at it and be like, I don't see the difference. And I'm like, oh. Okay, so that makes it really hard, because I'm like, you're not noticing that this L looks like this.
There are
this
definitely
L looks like this.
Yeah.
So they're just like looking at it as a whole, and they're just like, I like it. I'm like, okay, but what font?
Which one of those do you like better?
I'm like, which design?
Yes.
Or there'll be subtle differences, and and I notice them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's just because I've designed it.
It could
be. I don't know what it is, but I notice every little thing about every single thing, and I am such a critic. I'm a horrible critic on myself. I have gotten to the point where I just make them, and I just kind of go with it, because nobody else sees the flaws that I do. I'll be like, there's a pinhole in that corner. And everybody's like, where?
Yeah, I can.
And then when I point it out, they're like, oh, that's,
yeah.
And they just kind of go on about it. But so it always drives me crazy if the font doesn't look right.
Well, you want to have it done right, and I can definitely tell. Yes.
And especially when you're creating for other people.
Yes.
And I'm like, and one of the things I tell people when I'm creating for them, do not be afraid to tell me you don't like something.
Yes.
If you don't like it, you are not going to hurt my feelings. All I do is start over.
Yeah, you just
because ultimately you're paying money for my time.
Right.
And I calculate my time into all of my prices.
Sure.
That is something that I put in there.
Okay.
I don't charge differently for like a pure custom design versus, hey, I just
Okay, gotcha.
a blue background with a black name.
Okay.
I don't charge different because ultimately it is my time that is just kind of snowballed into it.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
sometimes I spend an hour on something and sometimes I spend 6 hours.
I can believe that. Yes.
And so I don't think it's right for me to change the price on every single thing.
I understand what you're saying.
So it's just kind of wrapped in there because I'm like, no, that's part of what you're getting as part of what you're spending on your money is my time that I am creating this. So if you don't like it, you have to tell me because, I mean, there can be the slightest thing wrong. And I know that I know so many of these people especially the ones that are like, I don't know, I have this small idea and I just create it into a big, then they're like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And I just want to look at them and shake them and being like, there's 3 different designs. Like, which one do you want?
Exactly.
Don't just tell me that you like it. What do you like?
Exactly. We got to narrow this down. Yes.
There's a lot of times where I will, I typically ask at the beginning when I'm creating something is, okay, do you get overwhelmed easily? Or do you want all the ideas and all the choices? Or do you want a limited number? Like, how many choices do you really want?
That is very good too.
Because some people like me, I want all the choices because I'm going to be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yep.
And I can just roll them out and just scratch them off.
Yep.
Or I can be like, oh, I like this one, but I like this one too. Is there a way you can, kind of do that?
Right.
So I want all the designs. Now, my sister, on the other hand, is very much the opposite. And she's like, Sandra, give me 2. And so
I kind of like that.
I'm like, okay. So I sit on my computer, I'll have 8 or 9 designs and I'll sit there and I'll scroll through them and I'm like, I don't like that one. I don't like that one.
Yeah.
And I kind of narrow them down.
Right.
And then I send 2 to her and I'm like, what do you think of these? And I try and make them drastically different.
Okay.
And kind of like so far on the opposite ends of each other.
Not going to be confused that they're
alike. And then that way, all of my designs that have been in the middle that I was kind of like, well, I don't know. Because if she's like, well, what if you do this on this? Then I can, half the time that she's like, what if you change this? Or what if you move this? Half the time I've already done it on a different design or, I've tweaked it or something like that. And so I'm like, oh, well, what about this?
Yeah.
And then I can send that design. And she's like, oh, yeah, I like that. But, and let's
kind
keep,
of the back.
it kind of snowballs my customer's own creativeness that's kind of within everybody. I mean, everybody has that creativity in the back of their mind and everybody has that vision of what they want to see.
True, yes.
But, so many people just are like, no, I'm not creative, you do it.
Yeah, and that would be me.
And I mean, it's sometimes it's like the most frustrating part of this is they're like, I don't know, just design me something. And I'm like, I had someone design, and I mean, like, and I get it because a lot of people don't realize like the things that I can do.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
But someone had me design something one time and they were like, hey, I want a tumbler. And I was like, okay, cool. Tell me about yourself. Like, what do you want on it?
Yeah.
And they're like, my grandkids call me Mimi and my favorite color is purple. And so I had this much to work with.
Yeah, that's so much.
Like, okay, so purple and Mimi, like, what do you, and I'm like,
yeah, that's not much to go with.
It's almost harder for me to kind of snowball whenever I have a not like, and so I try really hard to be like, give me this, give me this, give me this. And I have a bunch of questions that I typically ask depending on what you're wanting to build.
I could see that,
so
because you give a little more idea.
If I know you personally, it's not that hard because I can, I can throw in those things. And, I mean, like my sister, she's extremely fun to create for because 90% of the time she's just so shocked by what I came up with that she's like, yes.
That's
but
awesome.
I know her so intensely that that's where it makes it easy.
It does.
I don't have to question. I know that I can't put red in her designs because it's her least favorite color.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's so many people that I'm like, I don't know, is this a safe color? Is this, just because I like it or don't like it doesn't mean they do or they don't.
Yeah,
so it's just kind of so fun to do that.
So do you have like an online store for stuff you've already made up that people can go to?
I don't. I have pictures of most things on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I do kind of keep them. I try and keep it kind of up to date.
Okay.
Every kind of event I go to, I try and take pictures and being like, hey, hit me up. I try not to keep a whole bunch of things in stock,
Okay.
actually. So I take a very minimal amount with me to craft shows and stuff.
Okay.
Because my goal is not to sell what I have.
Okay.
It's to advertise what I can do.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay.
So I mean, my biggest thing is my taste is not the same as yours.
No, and that's
And
like everybody's, yeah.
you know, I mean, my color isn't the same as your color and
Right,
things like
right.
that. So I love cows and turquoise and you know, the Western and the Aztec
from
and
where you,
stuff like that.
especially where you came from New Mexico, yeah.
I can make a design and I can put it on a koozie and then it'll sit on my shelf for 6 months because nobody will walk by and be like, I like turquoise, I like cows, and I like Western.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to keep things in stock.
It would be tough, yeah.
I prefer to just kind of keep an array of things that I'm like, this is what I can do.
Okay. Very good.
Because it's a lot funner for me, honestly, because and then I'm not kind of wasting my money because ultimately every single keychain that I make, every single koozie that I make and I print on, I can't take that print away. It is permanent.
Okay.
So I can't delete, I can't change.
So it's a done deal then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ultimately, I have to like what I'm putting on these things for me to be like, I'm going to put it on there.
Okay.
Because if I end up, you know, if I have 10 koozies and I can never sell them for the next 10 years, I'm ultimately stuck with those.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want something that has,
that makes sense.
You know, I mean, a coffee shop. I'm not a coffee drinker. So, you know, I mean, I don't want, you know, but on the flip side of that, you might be a coffee drinker and that might be your design that you absolutely love, that you're like, no, coffee is life.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, like, it's hard for me to have all of that kind of stuff in stock.
It would be tough.
Because, like I say, it's just so different because my views on what I like versus what you like is so different.
Yeah, and you don't want to be stuck, like you say, something sitting on a shelf for a long time.
Yeah, so. You know, and so, I mean, of course, I do have plenty of things that you can buy just kind of if you're needing a quick idea or, you know, there's a lot of things that are like, oh my gosh, so-and-so would love this. And, you know, I kind of keep those. I try and tell everybody at all of my events that I'm like, this is just kind of a basis of what I can do. Like everything is custom designed.
That's very good. That's very good.
And I always say custom designed and not custom made because a lot of people are like, oh, you made this coaster. And I'm like, well, no, I didn't make the ceramic coaster.
Yeah, no,
You know, there's so many people that kind of like are like,
you made the whole thing from the very,
So I always say custom designed.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's what I do. I design it. I don't make the things. I buy them because, you know, I mean, there's a few things I probably could make if I really tried.
Yep.
But I'm not sewing shirts in my spare time.
I don't blame you. In spare time, I don't think you have much.
No. But, you know, so I mean, that's kind of the cool thing is I just like to tell everybody, you know what, hey, and come up to me being like, hey, can you do a picture frame?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, let me jump on here and let me see what I can do.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to see. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, there's so many things that I can do that I haven't tried yet or that I haven't done.
Yep.
And that's so much the fun of it too is it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, I think this sounds like you're living your dream there. So yes.
You know, it's close as I'm ever going to get to it. So that's the awesome part.
So Sandra, before we end the podcast, anything else you would like to share with the audience?
Oh gosh, I'm a talker, so I could sit here and talk. I could talk forever, but you know, I would just love to tell everybody, you know, if they want to come and see me, Christmas presents, birthday presents, you know, Mother's Day is coming up. I would love to design for you guys. You know, I mean that's my thing is just come create with me kind of thing.
Very cool.
That's what I try and say on my logo, you know, is I mean, like I make your dream come to life.
Excellent.
I make that idea just kind of keep going, you know. So
very, very good.
Anything and everything I can try and put it, you know, put a design to paper and
very, very
do the best I can and make something memorable because you know, in nowadays day and age, toys and gifts and things like that, when you're giving it to someone that you love and that they mean something, it means so much more to that person.
Yes.
That you know, created.
Yeah, it is personalized specifically for them.
You know, and that you thought about it and that you put this time into it. And then small, you know, I mean, I'm a small business. So, I mean, that comes and helps me instead of, I mean, we can all buy a card at Walmart. We can all buy a pillow at Walmart. You know, I mean,
but this is something that,
this is, you know,
yes, personalized.
You know, it's always a little bit more expensive. But again, my time is in there, and
yes,
I would rather you come and tell me, hey, you know, I don't want to spend an $8 koozie that's on this table, but I would want a koozie that has A, B, and C on it. And I'm like, hey, let's go for that.
Yeah, you accommodate.
You know,
they're looking for. Yes,
that's part of my pricing is
that's
that those custom designs are in there because that you can't really put a dollar price on.
You really can't.
You know,
no,
and I mean, if I was charging my hourly wage, it's just not there. So, you know, all of that is just something that I love to do, and
it shows. So, your vibe is very. You're definitely in flow. I know that.
Oh, so, I appreciate that.
So, well, Sandra, I'm glad we met the other day over Holdridge.
Absolutely.
And thanks for being on the Dreamcatcher podcast. And we'll put in the show notes everywhere they can get a hold of you and all that. So, and I look forward to seeing what's next. What's the next thing you design?
Yeah, I can't wait to design more. So,
okay. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.